everyone, and welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. I am Captain Logan, and joining me this evening, as always, is my illustrious producer, Danny Nixon.
Hey, everybody.
And guesting tonight is our good buddy, DJ.
Hey, everyone. What's up?
How's it going, DJ? Thanks for joining us. DJ this evening is sporting his Blue Ranger shirt because later in the evening, he and I are going to begin our foray into 10 seasons of Power Rangers. Not that we're going to watch 10 seasons this evening, but we're going to be watching a couple episodes a little bit later. Actually, several episodes. We're going to shoot 2 or 3 shows at tonight at once of Morphin Mania. So if you are into Power Rangers and you're curious about that, I'll look forward to it. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the show. And we're going to go ahead and jump right into stuff. Thanks for being here. If you are watching this live, thanks for watching after the fact. If you are doing that as well, we wanted to introduce everybody to DJ tonight because if you watch Morphin Mania, you're going to be seeing a lot of him. And so feel free to ask stuff that's maybe kind of nice for a whole panel to talk about, or stuff directly at DJ. If you know DJ well enough to ask him anything, he's been on the channel a couple times, so some people might be somewhat familiar with DJ's interests and sensibilities. You can always, of course, ask Danny stuff as well. You know, if there's anything you really want to ask directly to our lowly chat moderator.
Making fun of my height already, and we're only like 2 minutes in. How dare you, Cap?
Honestly, I don't know how tall you are because we haven't met in person yet. I wonder if you got to be taller than me, right? Everybody's taller than me.
I'm around 5'6", 5'7". So.
Oh man, I wonder if you and I are like the exact same size and weight and everything.
We'll have to go up next to like a door and just like put the little pencil line and see.
We're gonna do that thing. When Danny and I finally get together, we're just gonna be children the whole weekend. Like,
oh yeah, we're gonna go get kicked out of a Spirit Halloween because Toys R Us isn't in business anymore.
That's it. It's exactly where I was going with that. Yeah, we're gonna sneak candy into the movie theater. We're gonna drink juice boxes. It's gonna be fabulous. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and jump right into questions tonight. It is an Ask Me Anything show. We considered doing Power Rangers tonight, but then we decided, oh wait, we're gonna be talking about that for hours upon hours upon hours over the next year or slightly more. So we figured maybe it wasn't a great idea to do that. So we're going to talk about anything that you want to chat with us about tonight. And Danny, why don't you go ahead and throw the couple of super chats we have at us, and then we'll go ahead and jump into pre-written questions.
All right. Well, starting things off with our first super chat from Thomas Edgehill. What is your favorite superhero episode of a non-superhero show? And also, what are your thoughts on Lego villains so far? Are you going to get Spider-Man 4 PS4 DLC? So the first question is, what is your favorite superhero episode of a non-superhero TV show?
So once again, and I don't know if it was Thomas Edgehill who did this last week, but we got really economical super chats where it's like, how much can we cram into a $5 super chat? Thanks so much for the donation. We really appreciate it. Favorite superhero episode of a non-superhero show? Wow, is that specific? That's a great question. The first thing that leaps to mind is like, I'm only thinking about cartoons right out the gate. The first thing that leaps to mind, and I just watched this recently with my kids, is the first Bat Duck episode of Tiny Toon Adventures.
That's a good one. See, my mind also first went to cartoons, and it was the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy episode of SpongeBob.
Oh, okay, sure. There's also the Justice Friends segments in Dexter's Lab.
Yeah.
Look, a lot of cartoons went to the superhero place. I'm not immediately thinking of like superhero episodes of dramas and stuff. I don't know that there is a lot of that.
No, and I don't even know if it counts because it was technically part of like the new Scooby-Doo movies, but the like original Batman crossovers with Scooby-Doo were always some of my favorites growing up.
Sure, yeah, that would be a non-superhero. Yeah, well, that does count because you did it in air quotes. Yeah, movies in air quotes. That was a TV show before it was anything. DJ, does anything spring to mind?
I don't know if it's my favorite, but the only thing I can think of right now is...
Did you go to your shelf? Did you just turn around and start pulling things?
There's an episode of Psych that takes place at a comic book convention, and there's like an actual superhero or supervillain and superhero that are going on, and it's a pretty good episode. I really like the first few, probably like the first 5 seasons of Psych. So
Psych, I've never watched past the pilot. I need to go back to that. But I know that, if to my understanding, that show liked to do a lot of those kind of like fun themed and like tribute episodes. Like I know they did one for the Clue movie where they brought back some of the alum from Clue.
Yeah, there's a Clue one. There's a Twin Peaks one that I'm trying to get Connor to watch called Dual Spires. It's really good. But yeah, I recommend Psych.
I wonder how much of those would just go right over my head where I wouldn't even realize they were a tribute until somebody told me. Yeah.
That's kind of what it's like, yeah. they seem to be enjoying it a lot more than the audience most of the time. But
oh, really? Yeah. That can be really self-indulgent. Because when I read that thing about Clue, I was like, oh, that's really cool. Then immediately I went, half the audience is going to have no idea what you're doing. Because that was not a popular movie. Like, it's a cult classic. Didn't do great at the box office.
Yeah, but I do recommend checking out some of the regular episodes because the pilot's kind of the worst because it's stretched to an hour and a half. The 45-minute usually works a lot better for their format.
Sure. But yeah, I mean, I like what I saw. Okay, I just forgot to go back to it. Didn't even turn me off. I just kind of forgot about it. It was on Netflix at one time, which means it probably isn't now.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it's.
I was having a conversation with Eric about this yesterday, where we were almost making bets on how long Star Trek and Power Rangers will last, because they kind of have like the record right now. And my argument is, will they keep renewing the contract over and over again? Like those shows both must, and I mean I say both, like all the permutations of those shows must do pretty well for them because they keep renewing contracts. But and like if Star Trek could survive CBS All Access, it makes me think it'll be there another 10 years, but maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of the weird thing. Like, who owns the? Well, CBS, I guess, would own Star Trek.
CBS would, because that's the television arm. Yeah,
right. And I was thinking Paramount, but that's more the movies, isn't it?
At this point, because they had the split, they had like a Baptist church split, right? Where and then now CBS commands the television stuff and Paramount commands the movies, and it's really confusing to tell what they're allowed to use from what. And yeah, it's weird. The rights issues with Star Trek are really, really confusing.
Yeah, and that's because I know when Paramount took over Spike TV and they kind of revamped their website and everything, they were trying to push their website that kind of their normal website as kind of also a streaming service if you've got a cable subscription. Yeah. So they've got a lot of like back stuff up there on there, like most places do now, but they keep stuff up there longer than most things do after it ends. So I was thinking if it was still Paramount, it would very likely end up going there, because I see them being the next group to do their own individual like streaming service.
Okay, well, I gotta get rolling on this. There's a couple more things inside the super chat, and we got started. Thoughts on Lego Villains so far? It's great. I'm enjoying the crap out of it. I'm especially impressed with the voice cast. Lego Malcolm Merlin is there, and he's voiced by John Barrowman, and it's fantastic. I'll be talking about that on the Omnibus. And then Spider-Man PS4 DLC. Yeah, I will get that eventually. I'm not going to get it right away because I just have so much I'm working through right now. Watching Daredevil, and I'm almost done with Daredevil, but I just, I'm watching and going through a bunch of other things. So I'll do that soon. I don't know if I'll get to it in time for the Omnibus, maybe the one after that. Okay, what else? Let's get rolling through some stuff here.
Okay, the next super chat from David Crabtree. Cap said he's having a live DJ. Where's the music?
Yeah, I said I was having DJ live. I'm sure DJ's never heard that before.
Oh, no, it's not the first thing everyone asks me when I meet them.
Yeah, DJ, and then like 20 minutes into the show, he just breaks out his DJ rig and he starts just going to town with his.
Did you ever play DJ Hero?
I did not. What is it? Is that like Guitar Hero?
It's like Guitar Hero, but it's got turntables.
Yeah, it lasted for all of 6 seconds, and when you go to like used game stores or vintage stock or something, you'll see just piles of those turntables.
I did play Donkey Konga quite a bit.
They can't give that stuff away. Yeah, I really liked Donkey Kong Jungle Beat.
Or you
I don't know if you played that. Yeah, it's awesome. That should not work, but it does. It's great. I really enjoyed it. I got really good at it.
It's really fun.
It's essentially another Donkey Kong Country game. But you have to use the bongos to. So, like, if you want to go right, you have to, pound on it right. And if you want to go left, you pound on it left. And if you want to jump, you hit the sides of the bongos. And yeah, I go back to that. It's fun.
I wish I still had a system that could play that.
That's why I keep everything, and why I hopefully will never have to go to something smaller than my house, because I am out of space. My wife and I were talking about moving up to a larger house in the next 2 or 3 years, and now we're talking about trying to expand. We're thinking about adding on to the house, and Sarah is, which we're talking about doing in like 3 or 4 years. And my wife is an architect, and so when we talk about things like this, she immediately just starts drawing. She just starts, doing floor plans, and she has done up floor plans. Get this, she wants to expand the Batcave, and this sounds like a pipe dream to me, but she really thinks it's possible. And she's throwing dollar figures at me, and she's like, in so many years we can probably be able to do this. And I'm like, oh my god, this would be amazing. She wants to expand the Batcave and put a 9-seat movie theater down here, like a superhero rewind viewing room. That's what we're talking about. Amazing. She has drawn it, and I know what it looks like, and it will be it's got a 7-foot screen. It's going to be amazing if we can do it.
That's awesome.
That will be cooler when it's actually news. But Danny, give us a couple pre-written questions, will you? And everybody, remember the super chat is open. If you want to make sure that your question gets answered on the show, just send us a couple $3, and we certainly appreciate that. Helps us out immensely. Go ahead, Mr. Danny Nixon.
All right, from Blue Dragon 5. What is the best Halloween candy to get?
Best Halloween candy, like in your bucket when you're trick-or-treating, or
That's how I
just
interpret it.
Candy you like eating? So let me ask you guys this. I'll rephrase the question slightly and say, like, when you guys were kids and you were trick-or-treating, what did you get most excited about when you got something in your bucket? Like for my son Jason, it's Reese's peanut butter cups.
See, I think those are really overrated. I always
Sorry, Jason. He's watching right now. Danny's he's like, Jason, your candy sucks.
Sorry, Jason. I feel so bad.
Do not care about your candy.
Yeah, you got terrible tasting candy, kid. No, I always got super excited about either Twix or Kit Kat. Those are my favorites. And I'm not a big chocolate fan. Like I prefer to go for like the gummy or the sour candy.
I like gummies a lot too. Yeah.
Anytime I got like sour
I ate an insane amount of gummy bears when I was in Germany, because that's where Haribo is, and they were everywhere.
Blue Dragon 5 says this was Danny Nixon's last live show.
Yeah, you insulted my son's sweet tooth. You're done. No, I've always thought of, with respect, like I like Twix. And what was the other thing you said? You said Kit Twix Kat. And Kit Kat. I like those. I think of those as like second tier, second string candy bars. Like they're what I'll go for if there's nothing else available.
Yeah, but there's multiple in the thing. That's what made them so cool.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you have that with Hershey's, where you like break off the little pieces.
Yeah, but those are small. I don't know. There's just something about I like breaking a Kit Kat, and then like Twix, I can choose right or left, and now they've made that
and then they pretend like there's a difference, and it's stupid.
Yeah. I love those commercials.
Could have ranted about that.
I love the commercials where it's like they think they're similar, like a mortician and an undertaker. I just love that stuff. It's so stupid. It's hysterical.
I learned something I didn't know. Maybe you guys will be like, well, yes, everyone knows this. I like a year or two ago, and I forget how I found this out. I learned that the little pieces of Hershey's, you know how like they're in a grid and you can break them apart. They're called pips. There's a name for them.
Oh, really?
I never knew that.
Isn't that weird?
Learn something?
There was never going to be another opportunity to bring that up. DJ, yeah, slam dunk. DJ, what was your favorite candy to get in your Halloween bucket?
When I was a kid, I think I
didn't let me celebrate Halloween at DeKalb Logan, and I'm sorry, go ahead.
It wasn't that they didn't let me celebrate it. I just didn't do it. I think I only did it like once.
I knew you were going to say that. Somehow I knew you were going to say that.
But I guess, yeah, I like chocolate, peanut butter stuff, like Reese's was my favorite. So I don't think your opinion is trash, Jason.
You're sucking up to it because you're going to be on the.
Yeah, you're going to see him later. Jason is also going to be on the first episode of Morphomania a little bit later. So yeah, mine was probably like Hershey's and M&M's. I guess are probably my favorites. My favorite candy of all time is Reese's Pieces. But when I was a kid, we didn't get those as much because I don't think we until like the, I don't know, am I wrong with this? Was it not really until like the mid 90s that we had like the fun size packs of those, or did we have those even earlier and I'm just not remembering it right? I don't know.
You're asking the wrong guy.
These guys are younger than me, so this is a rhetorical question, or it's to people that are my age or older in the audience. I'm working with youngins again.
I can only help you from 92 on. I can't help you any further back than that.
Mid-90s is when I'm born, so I can't give
Danny,
you any input.
Danny, you were born when? 1999?
96? How dare you, sir?
Yes, I experienced the 90s.
I am a 90s kid. Those were the 4 best years of my life.
Yeah, you can't say that any more than I could say I was an 80s kid. Okay, give me another pre-written question, and then we'll go back to Super Chats. Looks like we've got at least one of those, so go ahead.
Yes. William Parcell says, are there any superhero properties you think should always be a period piece in the past?
Always. I mean, there's comic book stuff that's weird to update, right? Like you can update the Shadow. That's kind of a we've set precedent for that in the comics. Like you can do a good updated Shadow thing. I still prefer to see it in the 30s. Dick Tracy's that way as well. Like it's weird if that's not set in the past. Batman and other like really stylized kind of street level shadowy characters like that can be either period piece or present day. I always think it's better when those things are done in kind of ambiguous time periods, or you make it feel really timeless. So it's like a hodgepodge of a lot of different time periods, but it mostly sort of looks like the 50s or the 30s or the 40s. But I can't think of anybody like straight up superhero wise that just has to be set in the past. Like I guess the Rocketeer. I mean, there are characters just. The premise of it is a period piece in the first place. But the only ones I can think of, like I can't think of anything where it's taste issue, where like I can't deal with it in present day. It's just if the premise is you wouldn't have even built that now, then it's just weird to try to update it.
Yeah, I guess my only like real go-to would be like Captain America, but only the origin story, or Magneto if you're doing Holocaust Survivor, because
because that's getting silly.
It is, and I saw somebody whose idea, I forget what specifically it had, but it was basically kind of completely redoing the character within 10 years. And I was like, in the next 10 years, I'm like, yeah, it's getting about that time. But
well, and Eric and I talk about this all the time, but we've got to get Robin out of the circus. It doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah, he should be a gymnast or
no
American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, it's like Spoons in the Matrix. There is no circus.
Justice Society is one I always think of as like, but maybe that's more because I think of that as like golden age, and like it's always pre-superhero. Anytime we try to modernize the canon in any way of like condensing everything down to where it all existed.
Kellen O'Rourke mentions Watchmen. Yeah, I'm really glad we didn't update that like we almost did.
Or are we?
Well, I don't know anything about the show that they're talking about. I mean, the HBO show that they're talking about incredibly cryptically. So yeah, who knows? I'm assuming that's still period piece, but we almost made a 90s or a movie, I think in the 90s or early 2000s, that would have updated it to now and was going to be like a big environmental preachy message movie.
Is that the one Sam Hamm did the script for?
Sam Hamm's was closer to the book with a really weird meta ending. I reviewed that on the Omnibus a few Omnibuy ago. No, this was a different script. It was later. I don't know if I don't know if a script ever got written. I read that that movie almost got made, but I don't know if it ever went past the treatment stage. I've never seen that script, so I don't know. Let's move on, shall we?
Well, DJ, did you have anything to add to that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, DJ.
Oh, no, you guys covered it.
I'm used to a third person on the show.
It's okay. You guys covered it great. You took all the answers, so carry on.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did we take all the answers? Do you have one? DJ has no answers.
No answers.
No.
Not to that one question. I'm sure I'll have answers later.
Okay. The next super chat, I'm going to give everybody a spoiler warning. It's concerning CW's Elseworlds crossover. So if people, I'm going to try to word it a little bit vague, but it's basically saying we're going to see characters as other actors as different characters. It's going to be nuts. That's basically what he's saying, and I don't really want to spoil it for everybody since that's coming out.
This is one of the and just kind of turn your sound off for a couple of minutes or whatever. I don't think it's a big deal to talk about this. That poster has been floating around everywhere. I don't know if DJ cares about the CW shows.
Okay. I was trying.
And I know DJ doesn't like to keep up with news and stuff, but he watches this show, and I'm not careful about it for him when he's watching. So I'm not going to be careful about it for him when he's here. He can drop out and come back in if he just really wants to. That's just a personal preference thing. But no, what he's and I don't want to give away like all of the cool little tidbits and things they've thrown out about that. I think they've told us too much. But the big poster was just Green Arrow and Flash flipped. That other universe, they're apparently wearing each other's costumes. They're doing kind of the speeding bullets thing, except like it's a total switcheroo as opposed to just one of them becoming the other hero. So Oliver Queen is the Flash, and Grant Gustin is Arrow. Why can't I think of names right now? But come on, guys, the Flash.
John Wesley.
Anyway,
are you talking about the actor?
No, I'm talking about the character name because I blanked. I thought of Grant Gustin. I couldn't think of Barry Allen for a second. Yeah, anyway,
sorry.
So that's the. God, keep up and help me out, you guys. But anyway, so yeah, that's really fun. It's looking more like it's not just Elseworlds in name. It's looking like an actual Elseworlds thing. The more I'm hearing about it, the more I'm really excited about it. It might end up not being a great story, but it looks like they're doing a lot of really super fun things with it, and that they're being pretty creative. So yeah, just like last year, it will be the one big thing I watch from them this year. Although I will watch Arrow season 7 when it's finished, because like 6 isn't good, but I was curious about the ending, so like I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, and I'm kind of excited about this Elseworlds thing. Like I was telling you when we talked about it, it might be the first CW thing I go back to and watch.
You should watch it, because I don't know if I'll have anybody else to review it with. I'll see if Rascal wants to watch it, but if not, I'll see if I can get Danny to do it with me.
Yeah, sure, I'll watch it. It's what, 4 episodes?
It's 3, I think.
3, okay. I didn't know if they were doing Legends.
It's not going through Legends. Yeah, it's just Supergirl and Flash and Arrow. Yeah,
cool. The next super chat, we've got 2 from Mr. Roboto. He says, update Shadow to 2099, Rocketeer 2099, Phantom 2018. That'd be interesting, I guess.
Phantom you can do in any time period because he's a legacy hero, and like it's fun to do period pieces with him, but you can also go in the future, and people like that Phantom 2049 show. I never watched it. So yeah, I'm not sure what else to say about that.
His next one is asking.
Well, I mean, Rocketeer is weird, right? Where it's like we have a really futuristic rocket. This thing makes wormholes. It's amazing.
I don't know. I could see that working in like a Neo Gotham, like Batman Beyond type of future where it's very stylized and very kind of pulled from retro futurism. So
I kind of like this idea. You take like a pulp hero team like that, where you throw some of the guys we're talking about all together and you put them in the future. Either futuristic versions of them where it's like people in a like not great future that are like looking at the past and going, hey, what if we like tried to live up to these heroes of like 100 years ago, and they just bring them back? Or I guess you could do a time travel thing and throw them all in the future. You can do that thing.
Or you can do
that. Doesn't always suck.
Like the 90s Spider-Man show where they're just all super old now. Captain America comes back. Have you seen that? Oh, of course you've seen that. You reviewed it.
Yeah. No, that could be that could be hilarious. Where it's like
Expendables, but comic books.
Yeah, or it's like the elderly superheroes in the animated Tick episode, Grandpa Wore Tights, where they just all sit around in a superhero old folks home and tell stories about fighting the terror in the 1940s. I'm just imagining the show that DJ's pitching, though, where it's just like elderly Bruce Wayne, but like everybody, and they're all like, we barely can wear costumes and go fight crime now, but we're still going to.
They've just got bathrobes that look like their costumes.
Yeah, or they just have a team of super dogs, and they just sit in a room and they're like sick them, and then they send out their dogs, and they've got like headsets, and they like give them commands through their headsets. And they got like rockets on their paws, and this show would have sold gangbusters in the 80s.
Mr. Roboto's next super chat says, "Is the Halloween theme show still happening?"
Yeah, I meant to talk to Danny about this earlier. Danny, if you're still game for it, I thought we could maybe do that Tuesday next week. We'll talk about it. See if you're available. Can't do it Wednesday because I got to take my kids trick or treating and such. So we won't have one on Halloween, but we'll do it the day before. So yes, we will do that. We'll make that kind of mostly Halloween questions, although I've been doing so much horror stuff and Halloween things lately that I don't know if by that point there won't be like nothing else left to say. Eric and I just shot an After Dark last night. That's going to go up on Patreon hopefully tomorrow, and that was all Halloween and horror stuff, and that's not my forte, so I had to kind of rack my brain a little bit. That was one of the harder ones to come up with topics for, but I think it turned out pretty well. Eric's were better than mine, but
so just to clarify for everybody, it's Halloween the holiday, not Halloween the film franchise, right?
Yes. Yeah. We're not gonna. That would be a boring show, man.
I love the Halloween franchise.
So, what do you think of Halloween 4? I don't know. That one kind of fades away. I don't really. What do you think about Halloween 5? Also fades away. Cannot believe I couldn't think of Barry Allen. I thought of Grant Gustin before Barry Allen. I'm really preoccupied by this.
That was very embarrassing that you forgot his name.
Danny, we're gonna miss you on Morphomania, man. I know you're not a huge Power Rangers guy or anything, but like a lot of the punny episode titles sound like things you would come up with.
Thanks. I would love to jump in on some of the SPD episodes because I love that one.
Yeah, you're welcome to, man. Pop right on in. And feel free to come in on some that you don't know anything about, because they could be just fun to react to. I'm not a big React guy, but Power Rangers is a really easy thing to do this with. Because it's really formulaic. In some ways, if you've seen one, you've seen them all.
I was just
not really true, but
I could jump in and know exactly what's going on in probably most episodes.
Yeah, I mean, some of them get a little bit more involved, mythologically and stuff. But
yeah, anything that brings in whatever that season's like 6th Ranger is usually when it starts to get more archy. But like,
yeah, and just the Disney seasons in general get a little bit more complex.
Oh, they do,
and we do more, actually building on. Yeah, I mean, Time Force is this way, Dino Thunder is this way. There are kind of real season arcs and stuff. I mean, it's still not good for regular television, but good for Power Rangers. But for Power Rangers, really good. As far as having a little bit more character dimension and stuff, and where characters are no longer just like a single prevailing character trait or an interest, if they even have that. I still can't tell you what Trini's thing is. The environment, I guess that's her thing.
What's like the one thing from that show that they pulled for the movie was it the environment, or was there some other thing that they pulled just?
What do you mean for the 2017 movie?
Yeah, like
with Trini. It was her fear of heights, I think.
Really?
Or is that even in there? Is that even in there?
I don't remember. We could ask David. David Crabtree loves that movie.
That's in the comics. We go no holds barred with that in the comics, but okay, let's move on.
All right, the next super chat from Super Nerd.
Dan's just taking up the time to ask his own questions.
I don't have to pay for
and our
super
next
chat.
comes from Stanley Nixon.
Super Nerd asks, are you a fan of Movie Bob and Linkara?
No. I mean, I've seen a couple of things Linkara's put out here and there from years ago. But as I say a lot, I don't watch a ton of other reviewers. Primarily just because, and I've talked about this before, so I won't be long-winded, but primarily because, especially when it's for the kinds of things that I tend to review, I just don't want to get like my own like opinions and interests in things mixed up too much with other people's. What I mean is, like, if somebody says a thing in a review that I might have thought of independently on my own, and I want to make that point, now I have to credit them. And I wouldn't have had to if I came up with that on my own. And so if I do happen to watch a review and there's something I want to mention from someone, of course I will credit it. And I've done that occasionally here and there. But it's just a lot easier for me to do my job if it's more kind of just me and the movie. So I don't watch a ton of reviews for the kinds of things that I review. So like I stay away from superhero movies reviews until I've watched it, and then a movie, and then sometimes I'll go back and look. Like for the longest time, because I'm a big fan of SF Debris, who I've not watched in a while, but he was kind of my biggest inspiration on YouTube before I got started. And that's how long he's been around. We're going into our 10th year next year. SF Debris was very established by the time I got started. And Debris reviewed Dark Knight well before I did. And I had to avoid watching it because I knew his review was probably brilliant and I didn't want it to affect me too much. So yeah, and movie Bob I've heard of, but I've never seen anything from him. Who do you guys watch?
I'll let DJ take this one first.
I don't watch a lot of reviews. I try to stay away from pretty much everything about movies. Even after I see them, I don't usually go back to reviews a lot. Sometimes I watch Screen Junkies a little bit, like their news shows, which is weird because I don't watch the news. But
it's a fucking contradiction, DJ.
I work at a job where I literally sit at a computer for 8 hours, so I listen to a lot of podcasty type things on YouTube and stuff. But I don't listen to a lot of reviews. I listen to Aaron Dicer. His stuff just because
yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
So how in the world did you wind up watching us then? Because I don't really watch reviews. I've been watching Geevolution since 2010. No. Well, but I don't watch reviews.
Yeah. I used to listen to. I listen to your stuff. I used to listen than I do nowadays.
I'm sorry. What's his name?
No, I actually found you, I think actually on a Geeks Not Nerds. I think the realistic one is film, or what is realistic in film, when you have like Rambo on the front of that podcast. That's the first one I remember listening to.
I forgot about that, yeah.
And then I found your superhero rewinds and used to listen to those all the time. But yeah, just nowadays I've changed and I've gotten more into podcasts than
I see. Yeah, it's hard to remember sometimes that, people evolve. Not the same as they were before.
Yeah, I'm kind of like DJ. I don't watch a whole lot of movie review stuff lately. Like I used to watch a lot of John Campea and Schmoes Know and that kind of like group. But lately I've more been like listening to non-movie stuff. Like DJ, I work 8 hours at a computer every day, so I'm listening to a lot of podcasts and a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you think I'd have all this time while I'm working to listen to movie reviews, but no, I just not a whole lot of movie stuff.
Wanderer in the comments says it would be pretty cool to see a collaboration between Geekvolution and SF Debris. I really would like to do, if not an interview, like a full-blown review with Debris at some point. He doesn't do off the cuff. He's only done it a couple of times. He's entirely scripted and doesn't seem to be super comfortable with that kind of format. So I don't know if I could ever get him to do it. It's a thing I've thought about messaging him, but kind of don't think he'd do it.
Yeah, I've actually never watched one of his videos before.
Yeah,
he's wonderfully insightful. And he's really funny. He thinks of himself more as a comedian than a reviewer, but I think he's really insightful. And he's also a really good historian. He's done some really good history videos. His history on Star Wars and is really worth looking at. On Doctor Who is really good, and he's done one on the history of Marvel Comics that I've not watched yet. I got to go in and do that at some point. But Eric speaks really highly of that.
The next question, I'm going to go back to some of the pre-written questions since I did like 4 super chats in a row. Aaron Johnson says, "Hello guys. Any thoughts? Any thoughts on the Wonder Woman sequel being delayed? To my understanding, both that film and Charlie's Angels should move back to November, so it isn't letting Terminator cause trouble."
Is anybody else wondering if 2019 is going to have summer movies? Because we just keep moving everything. I guess we have moved some things to the summer that were earlier in the year, but it seems like every other news article somebody sends me is this movie moved back. It just seems like everything is going back to later 2019 or into 2020. Wonder Woman could be an issue. I've read that there was apparently some kind of turmoil with that movie, and that is one where it might have gotten set back because there were issues like on set, and I don't know if it's Warner's not happy with what they're doing or what exactly is going on. I hope they're not getting their fingers too much into it. I don't know what's going on there, of course, but that one concerns me more than some of the others. And it's weird because when that happened, Warner's did a press release that was like finally it's moving to where it always should have been. It was like it's at its true home this weekend in 2019, or did it move all the way to 2020? Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, it was November. They said they wanted a summer release, so they moved it to 2020.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's the real reason or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, when I first skimmed over that article, I was like, oh, they're moving it forward because, it's at the date it always should have been. I was thinking, okay, it had a release date, it got pushed back, and now they're moving it to the original release date. I was thinking, oh, I didn't even know they got pushed back to begin with. But no, they're getting pushed back, and I was like, that's the weirdest way to word that. Unless, whatever date they got.
Usually just you would move it up, right?
Yeah. Did it get
You'd be like, we
moved
want it into the summer, so it's going to be July instead of November, not May of the next year or whatever it is.
Did they move it to the same date that the original Wonder Woman came? The first Wonder Woman, the movie, it's the sequel.
I don't know. I got to go back and look at. I don't even remember what the date is now. I just know it's 2020.
Yeah, because that's the only way that kind of wording would make sense. Like it's the date it always belonged in. It's just going to always come out on this one specific date, I guess. But that's neither here nor there. It just seemed like a weird way.
I hope I'm wrong about that. I hope it was just a strategic move. Just because something gets moved doesn't mean that there's horrible turmoil with it, or even that it's not being reshot because they're making it better. That happens. Sometimes you'll get moved because of reshoots, and the reshoots were a good idea, and sometimes you get moved just because it's they think it's a better weekend and it's strategically the right move. I saw a top 10 video today that was about the what's that channel that does all the top 10 lists? Watch Mojo, yeah, and it was a list of signs that a movie is probably going to be terrible, and one of them was that it gets moved back, and I'm like, I don't agree with that one. I think that happens all the time, and it doesn't tell you anything about the quality.
I think it happened all the time before the internet, and people just didn't know. But now that we have to announce our release dates 5 years in advance, it's a much bigger deal because they have to control PR and stuff.
Yeah, I would love to do a study on this. I'd love to get a list of movies in the last, say, 5 or 10 years that were moved back, and by 6 months or a year or whatever it is, and see how they all did, and which ones are kind of crappy and which ones are good. Because I bet it tells you nothing.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of confirmation bias that goes into that. When people hear that, it's like, oh, this movie got pushed back, so Fan 46 sucks, and that one movie ends up sucking. So everyone's like, oh yeah, every movie that has to do reshoots or every movie that gets pushed back sucks because of this one or this one that sticks out to me. And they
there were about 16 other telltale signs with Fan 46, certainly. People didn't think that was going to be bad just because it got moved. It was because of a lot of stuff we heard from set and the way those reshoots happened, and people practically disavowing it before it came out. I mean, there were a lot of things that made us think that was not going to be so great.
Cinematographic asks, Cap, if you were a 6th Power Ranger, would you either be a white Ninjetti Tiger Zord Ranger or a Gold Zero Ranger?
That's very specific.
Wow. Gold which Ranger?
Gold Zeo.
I mean, I'm always gonna pick gold over anything.
Yeah.
Ranger's my favorite design of all of it. It's just my favorite. So yeah. Now, I mean, the Ninjetti suits are cool. But I wouldn't pick. I mean, are we talking about the suits they morph into before they get the regular battle suits? Because like I wouldn't pick one of those over any. That's just what you put on to fight putties. Like, although it should have been just the suits.
You mean Tengus?
And what's that now? Like Tangas, yes, of course. And then in the movie, not well, I guess it was Tangas because they didn't have those for the snot guys. They fought those earlier in the movie. That's right. I'm gonna, as we go through the series, I'm gonna really put on my Power Ranger hat back on, and it's been a few months since I was really sinking my teeth into it. I don't know where all this time went, but that season overview I did was I think back in May, and I haven't looked at Power Rangers much since then because that was 60 episodes I watched in 1 week, and I was done with Power Rangers for a little while. But no, do you agree with that, DJ? Like I'm making fun of that, and like compared to the Gold Ranger suit, there's no comparison. But those were the suits that they actually used for one of the Sentais. I would have just used those suits. I don't know why it had to be like a mid-morph.
Wait, what are you talking? Are you talking about just like the cloth ninja mask?
Yeah,
those are all American.
Are they really? I thought they used those in a Sentai.
No, the Sentai is the Alien Rangers for that season.
Yeah, no,
the whole season.
It's all coming back to me now. They still should have just used those, but they couldn't because they had to shoot all the new footage. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, and then they got like
it'll all come back to me. No, now that I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's right. I remember that. Yeah, I'm sorry, what?
Then they got like, do you remember they got like the shiny versions of the regular Mighty Morphin suits where they were just like glittery?
Yeah, it was like some kind of battle mode. I forget what it was called, but yeah, they were sparkly.
Yeah,
and they made you move in slow motion.
That's a terrible power.
They were ridiculous. Well, I think the idea was supposed to be that like your enemy saw you in slow motion, but you weren't actually moving in slow motion. I don't think that was the power. I don't think it was, and now you're slower. Man, I forget what that was called. It'll come to me. Anyway, what else?
I was just gonna throw in my 2 cents that the Titanium Ranger is the best, like non-normal colored Power Ranger. I love that one so much.
They just added him in the game. I know you don't play the game, but he's the newest character. Never mind.
The only reason I'm not playing that anymore is I was not getting any work done.
It's a great game.
When I was playing that, I was doing it in the middle of trying to write rewinds, and I was like, I gotta stop. This is a bad idea.
Anyone in the live audience wants to play some Power Rangers Legacy Wars, I will play with you. Because Cap abandoned me.
I'm sorry. I'll come back at some point.
No, it's cool. I don't want to suck your life out of you.
Quick as lightning, strong as steel. Watch out, danger. He's for real. When lightning strikes, it's Gold Ranger. What else?
Jumping back to the super chats. Super nerd. What are your favorite deserts to eat? I think he means desserts. I prefer the Sahara. It's a little dry.
If I'm gonna eat a dessert, I'm sorry, what?
No, you're good. Keep going.
If I'm gonna eat a desert, I'm gonna need some like really thirst quenching beverage nearby. I don't like really dry foods, and Eric doesn't like cake because it's too dry. So I'm assuming he's also not a desert eater. But anyway, yeah, I'm all about, what was his favorite desserts? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
I'm all about pie. I'm all about the lemon meringue pie. What about you guys?
Ooh. A good cobbler.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, but like you're from the South, so of course, yeah, we ate a lot of cobbler when I lived in the South. Yeah, sure. I cannot wait to hang out with you, dude.
Oh man,
I can't have Southern friends. Like,
I can't wait to go grocery shopping and get a buggy.
Yes, we gotta get a buggy. I mean, I get buggies all the time, but no one knows what I'm talking about when I call them a buggy. A shopping cart is a buggy. My wife laughed at me hysterical when we were dating the first time I said that. And I wasn't even thinking about it, just nonchalant, like we're just at a grocery store. Hey, could you go grab a buggy? She just looks at me. Well, I say she laughed hysterical. She did after she knew what I was talking about, but at first it was just this blank stare, just this vacant expression where she just goes, "What? Huh?" And I was like,
"You were married before you had ever said that in front of her?"
No, I said when we were dating.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I said my wife, but when we were dating, before she was my wife.
Gotcha.
No, they got married before they started dating. It was the 90-day fiance thing.
I know you guys are a little young. That's how we did it back in my day. How we did it.
I mean, I live in Atlanta and worked at a grocery store for years, so I've heard everyone call it a buggy, so I'm used to it.
Oh, sure, yeah.
It's funny. Me and my coworkers spent an hour just talking about how different things are called different things, and depending on what region of the world or what region of the U.S. you're from. So it's funny that that's coming back up.
Yeah, depending on where you live in the world, it might be a whole other language.
Yeah.
In some places in the South, I'm from Arkansas originally, and in some places in the South, a battery is a battery.
Yeah, it's a bat tree.
A battery that throws people.
Well, that's more of just a pronunciation thing than a whole different word.
Well, no, it's not another word. That's true. But there are a lot of pronunciation things too.
It's like a war.
Man, Danny, I like. I want to come to you when we hang out because I feel like I'll just be like right at home. I honestly miss Arkansas a lot. I mean, like I grew up there, like really beautiful countryside. You know, there's stuff I don't like. There's ideas people have that are kind of, not great, but I miss it.
That and it's Arkansas.
Oh man, he's just digging himself a hole tonight.
No, you're good. You're not from Oklahoma, so you're good. No,
dude, I'm only like slightly inbred. Like, no, I'm just kidding. That's not true. That's not true at all. But I mean, that stereotype is true down there. I mean, you do see some of that certainly, and you will run into people you didn't know you were related to. That is a thing.
Okay, this is gonna make me sound really Southern. I dated a girl who happened to be cousins by marriage to a distant cousin of mine, and when she said that person was her cousin, I freaked out for a second.
What?
Yeah, and then she explained. I was like, "Oh, good. It's we're not actually related." So,
Danny, we got about 10 minutes left in the show. I don't know.
And I spent all this time talking about dating.
I don't know if we've accomplished anything today, but let's answer a few more questions. Do we have any more super chats we haven't gotten to yet?
Yes, a couple.
Okay, let's do those real quick, and then we'll get back to the pre-written, and we will rapid fire these as much as humanly possible. Go right ahead, sir.
All right, Gui DeAndrade, excuse me. I hope I said your first name correctly.
Yeah, you just call him Gui D. That's what he goes by on Patreon.
Okay, Gui D.
Hi, Gui D. Thanks, buddy.
I think Bumblebee looks fantastic. Am I crazy?
No, you're not. I think it has great potential. Absolutely. I'm more and more looking forward to it. I don't know about you guys, but
yeah, I finally saw the trailer when I went and saw Halloween. It looks pretty good.
Oh, DJ doesn't look at trailers, so I don't know if DJ cares about Transformers.
I've seen the first 3 a long time ago, and I'll watch this.
My condolences.
Yeah,
I'm hearing good things about it. So
no, it looks like it might be moving in the right direction. And it just looks like a much more intimate, smaller movie, and except it might not be because there's also a lot of Transformers in that movie, and at first we didn't think that was going to be the case. So it looks like a thing that could be like a really sweet, like, kind of relationship movie that then transforms into a giant war in the third act.
Love and War.
The Transformers movie. I still think it's weird that Transformers isn't in the title anywhere, given all the Transformers we're finding out about and the Cybertron flashbacks and stuff. That's not stuff I expected to see in your just straight up Bumblebee movie. I don't think we've ever flashed to Cybertron in those. I don't know. I don't think so. Anyway, what else?
They brought Cybertron to Earth in one of them, I know. So.
The next super chat is also kind
was
of
that actually Cybertron? I don't even remember anymore. Did they just bring it to Earth like Apocalypse in the last episode of Smallville, where they just bring it to the?
I think so. I think they were trying to. I think they got thwarted though.
They were thwarted before their tractor beam plot could be put into effect. Okay, go ahead, Davey.
The next super chat is also potentially a big spoiler. I don't know if this is just rumor territory or if it's an actual spoiler for the Wonder Woman sequel and why it's been delayed. So if anyone doesn't want to hear it, take your headphones out. But he's saying the reason it was delayed is reportedly to soft reboot the DCEU, and I won't read more into it.
Okay, yeah, don't read more. I hadn't heard of that. That I'll look into that. That does not sound like a thing that they would probably announce yet. That does sound rumory.
Sounds exactly right.
Could be
what DC would try to do, though.
Oh no, absolutely. And I'm not going to right away say that's a terrible thing for them to do either, because they're between a rock and a hard place moving forward. Like, they dug their own grave, so like it'll be interesting to see if they can dig themselves out of it. But I mean, like, this is on them. This didn't have to happen. Just a lot of the really counterintuitive choices they made early on. It makes a lot of sense that they're stuck in this place right now, but they're starting to finally make it looks like, at least, the kinds of movies that people actually really want to see, and not micromanaging too much. Hopefully, we'll see what the next two look like, but they certainly look like way more confident movies that don't look like the studio is mandating a ton of stuff. But what do you do when you're stuck with, I was talking to Eric about this yesterday, what do you do when you're stuck with popular things in a continuity that you're trying to get away from, but you also still want to cash in on those things and keep giving people what they want from those? Because, like, they're going to make a straight up Suicide Squad 2, but they don't want to have to deal with this continuity anymore, and they're going to recast Superman and Batman probably. So and you're stuck, you're stuck with that, and you're stuck with Wonder Woman, and you're maybe stuck with Aquaman.
Suicide Squad seems like the easiest one to do, because Batman was just in flashbacks, and they only talk about Superman in that one. So you can, with that one being disconnected from the main story of Man of Steel, BVS, and Justice League, that was a little bit easier to just kind of go your own way with. And I guess Wonder Woman's kind of the same way, because it's a prequel before all this other stuff. But yeah,
But if it's a straight up sequel, it could end up looking like a really super massive tonal change. Like, I wouldn't call it Suicide Squad 2. I'd give it some other title, at the very, very least.
Suicide Squad 2, Heck to Pay.
Oh, so it's still PG-13, is it? All right. No, this one's PG even. We dropped it even further back.
Carnage being G. I want like a Suicide Squad rated G. I just want all these R-rated properties done as a rated G family film, just because that would be absurd.
we make a movie for children called Life Pool. Anyway,
First Blood rated G.
What else have you got for me, Danny?
Mr. Roboto says, why is there no review of Black Lightning? He's a superhero, a principal, a dad, and most importantly, an actual adult. Why no season 1 review?
I reviewed the pilot, but I just haven't gotten around to watching that whole season. So that would be the reason. Just working on other stuff. It was okay. I mean, I didn't hate it. I had some positive things to say about it, but I'm not like rushing to watch it. But yeah, I try to commit to pilots with superhero things as much as I can. I mean, like I also haven't finished Krypton. I reviewed the pilot for that. I haven't watched any more of, I mean, there's a bunch of this stuff, guys. Like, I haven't watched any more yet of Cloak and Dagger. I did the pilot for that. There's just only so much time in my weeks, but I will maybe eventually try to get to a full season of those. I'm way behind on iZombie, and I liked that show. So yeah, I'm not gonna commit to entire seasons for everything.
The next super chat.
I'm not hearing anything about that. Like, I think it's doing okay. I don't know who in our audience, besides that person, really wants to hear more about Black Lightning, but if there's more interest in it, I'll look at it. Somebody told me the other day that it immediately falls off, and like the second episode is terrible. I hope that's not true, because I like the pilot okay. I think their leading man has plenty of screen presence and carries his own show really well.
If you want a show that falls off in episode 2, Titans.
Yeah, you said that. I'm not doing it, man. I don't want to know. I don't want to see any more of that show. I'm
gonna keep watching it because I'm looking forward to Jason Todd in that show. Like, I'm holding out hope that they're purposely making Dick Grayson's characterization so much like Jason Todd, and Jason Todd so much like Dick Grayson, and like it's on purpose, and they're eventually going to have a big character moment where the two kind of have a reason to why they kind of become more comic book, more traditional. But man, I have no hopes for it after that second episode.
Just let me know, man.
Oh, I'll rant about it to you.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not completely not open to looking at more of it if people tell me it's good. But people said that about the second season of Iron Fist, and I still thought it was pretty awful. So,
DJ, have you watched any of Titans?
No.
You're a smarter man than I am.
Yeah, didn't you sink like $80 into that streaming service? Didn't you pay
Yes.
for like a whole year?
I paid the full year like a chump because I am a DC
And
fan.
then we proceeded to spend an hour on a live show complaining about everything that's not good about it.
Like, I want people to understand that about me. I am the biggest diehard sucker for DC ever, and the fact that I spent an hour complaining about their service like 4 days after it launched should say something to everyone about how bad that service was at launch.
That does explain why he was more upset about it than I was, though.
Yeah, I was so ticked.
He was
So
livid. Yeah,
Livid.
I have heard through the grapevine from somebody that was like a beta tester for that they released it, shocker, way before it was ready, but that it was, but Danny, that it was like a beta version of it. Like it wasn't even supposed to be the regular version for it. They were so not done that it was like a testing version they released.
Well, on to the next super chat. Jeffrey, I don't want to get mad about this. It's stupid. Jeffrey E. Patron says, this was a lot of fun.
I love watching you fume about this. It's the best.
Can you see the smoke?
And then Titans come down, you're like, oh, come on! You don't even have original content I can watch.
Dude, I'm going back to Birds of Prey because it's the only thing
Could
on
you
there.
believe how much the Titans pilot had in common with Birds of Prey, and like the scene where she wakes up from a dream where she saw where Raven saw like Robin or whatever. I don't even remember what it was now. That
sees
show's
all
not
of
sticking with me. It was awful. Oh, is that what it is? Okay,
I think she sees all of them.
She sees the Titans, and she wakes up, and that conversation she has with her mother is practically verbatim.
And then
the
she
conversation
jumps on a bus.
And then she gets on a bus. Yeah, exactly. I couldn't believe it.
I was hoping like the first episode, like whatever villain they have to transport into some like weird black and white dream world. Like it would have been.
I had the same thing. And Birds of Prey does not hold up super well. I mean, I loved it when it was on. I've still got, kind of a soft spot for it. It's a better show than that.
I was about to say, this is my first time watching it because I never bought it on DVD, and I'm glad I will say one positive. The streaming service has Birds of Prey and the original Teen Titans cartoon. I want to watch more Birds of Prey before I want to watch more Titans.
Eric and I kept saying that. We were like, let's just watch Birds of Prey. This is awful.
Getting back to the super chat. Jeffrey,
we need to go ahead and wrap up here. So go ahead and do the super chat, and then are there any other super chats after this one? Is that the last one?
One more from David Crabtree.
Let's do those real fast, and then maybe if we can, we'll do one more scripted real quick. But I want to close up shop in about 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah. Jeffrey Patron, it's not a question, so this will go quick. This was a lot of fun. Looking forward to watching Morphin Mania later.
Yeah, that's a good segue for us to tell you a little bit more about Morphin Mania. So about 15 minutes or so after this, Danny, DJ and I, you guys' names both start with a D. DJ and I and
Deadpool
my son
Daredevil.
Jason are gonna I'll mix you guys up like Deadpool and Daredevil, and I won't even notice I do it, and then somebody will finally call me on it like later in the comments, like, Cap, did you know that's not DJ, that's Danny. But anyway, so DJ and I and my son Jason are going to broadcast the first episode of Morphin Mania. This show is going to be going public on the 1st of January of next year. That was always the plan. DJ and I are restructuring this a little bit. So we're going to be broadcasting every episode. So if you want to watch it along with us in real time, you can do that. We're going to do that every single episode. If you don't manage to do that with us, or you just want to wait, you can watch them as they start to come out 5 days a week in January. It's going to be a show that theoretically, if it goes well, we're going to do all the way through the year next year. We are pitching this as a kind of a 10th anniversary Geekvolution thing. So this is one of the couple of things that we're going to do next year to celebrate the 10th anniversary. We're going to do 10 seasons of Power Rangers, and we're also going to do a week, if we can fit it in, for each of the series, at least pre the new Saban era, that we don't get to. So we may not do any of the new Saban stuff because I think most of it's boring and not really worth looking at. But we're going to go up through RPM, and the 10 seasons that we're doing are listed post maybe every We're doing all of Mighty Morphin, and we're going to start with that, of course, and that's going to be the first, I think, 17 weeks, because each of those seasons is like anywhere between 40 and 60 episodes. So it's going to be really redundant, but there's going to be all kinds of really crazy fun stuff for us to point out and react to and talk about. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be really nice having an audience there to kind of bounce ideas and comments and things off of. It'll be a really fun time. So consider checking that out if you were a big Power Rangers fan, or if you just want to see some wacky hijinks and see how well we can get through it. Eric's going to be there whenever he can. He didn't have the time to do it for every episode like we'd originally planned, which is why it's been on hiatus. So DJ and DJ, I really appreciate you doing it with me, man. Thanks a ton for it. It's going to be great. Like I said, we're going to start with Jason tonight, and we're going to do 2 or 3 shows this evening. So I've already put up the link for the live show for the first episode. We're going to be recording these all separately. So the first show will have 2 episodes of Power Rangers in it. And then I'm going to put up a second live show that you'll have to jump over to in order to watch that. And we have a streaming link on rab.bit. Or rad.bit, is that what it is? Or is it rab.it? Anyway.
.it.
That's what it is. That is a streaming service that allows you to watch whatever I'm watching in the browser I'm watching. So you won't have to, if you're watching it live, sync up with us. You'll be able to watch exactly what we're watching. So if you want to do that with us, just wait a little bit, and at right around 9:30 my time, we're going to start that. Danny, any other super chats?
Yes. David Crabtree says, I watched that Titans pilot and thought to myself, at least we still have Teen Titans Go.
Yeah, that's fair. And of course, it had to be the exact stark contrast opposite.
Of course it did.
Just as zany and wild and fun and nonsense as that is, it's the exact opposite. But the thing they have in common is nonsense.
Yeah. One last super chat that just came in. Katie Goober says, how much of Lucifer did you see?
I watched the first 6 or 7 episodes of first season while we were still doing the weekly live primetime Crisis, when I was foolishly trying to review every single episode of every live action superhero thing that comes out, which I might still be crazy today over, but I haven't watched any of that since then. I got kind of bored with it, but I haven't heard anybody talk about that. I don't know how it is. I was a little bit surprised that it has gone as long as it has. It's had 3 seasons. I couldn't believe that stayed on. That stayed on, but Constantine couldn't. That's unfortunate.
Was there a Constantine show? I just know about the Constantine show.
Hilarious, Danny. Have you got another scripted chat for me?
No.
I hope so. Let's not end it with that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll be here with DJ, but not Danny next time.
Yeah, this was my last live show. I'm going out on a bang.
My chat moderator next time will be Jason Voorhees.
Well, okay, we've got another super chat.
Oh, goodness. All right.
I'm going to read it first because it's talking about the same spoiler stuff. So give me 1 second. Okay, never mind. The soft reboot, and I wanted to make sure there were no spoilers in it before I just started reading. The soft reboot in Wonder Woman 1984 makes no sense. It takes place in 84. BVS and Justice League take place in the present day. Fake news. I'll just leave it at that because some of the description he gave in the previous super chat kind of made more sense out of it, but I don't want to
just because it's a period piece doesn't mean it can't have a time jump or that there's a soft reboot in the past that wipes out stuff that happens later. If they do that, that would be my guess, right? Is that we see what starts as a timeline that works with BVS and turns into an alternate timeline.
Yep.
So in fact, I would make the case that a period piece might be precisely the right place to do something like Flashpoint.
Yeah, because then you've got
then you just wipe out the future and you're golden. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean that's how we did it with Days of Future Past. I mean, we went back to the past. Like we it's also in the future too, but most of that is a period piece that
wipes
that
out
period
the
piece
future of that movie.
that takes place in the past. That's redundant. But yeah, that wipes out the future and soft reboots. That would be precisely how you do that.
Yep.
And you think about it, like Star Trek 09 kind of does the same thing, because that's like a character from TNG that comes back in time and changes TOS.
And Days of Future Past is a period piece.
Yeah, exactly.
He was from the past before you make the Days of Future Past comparison to. Never mind. That joke's gonna fall flatter than me here in a second.
Yeah, I think the puns were better. Honestly,
the puns were better than trying to
Never thought
make that time travel joke work.
I want to start a time travel joke with this. Everybody, bear with me. It's gonna be loopy. Okay. Yeah, guys, I was going to do more scripted. We are out of time. Let's go ahead and bid you guys farewell right now. DJ and I will be back with you again, like I said, in about 15 minutes, 9:30 Central Time. So use the link that should be in your inbox if you're subscribed to the channel. Otherwise, go to the YouTube page and you should be able to see that there. And we will be back streaming for Morphin Mania. I'm stoked about it. I'm really excited. It'll be like the 6th time this year I've had to watch Day of the Dumpster for whatever reason. But yeah. And then after 10,000 years, I'll be free.
Oh my goodness. I hope not.
I can't wait to see what kind of stuff you'll start making the marks of, like with the funeral scenes from Marvel Mania.
Oh yeah, we should keep some kind of like Counting Crypto Freak score for stuff. That's a good idea. DJ, we will make that up as we go along, but when we see things that we want to count, we should write those down. Yeah. Certainly like cake pratfalls, that has to be one. Yeah, no, there will be stuff. Inventions that would change the face of science, but don't.
That never show up again.
Yeah, that never show up again, and that don't seem to make things any more futuristic in the world.
Well, Billy, he's just a shy guy. He doesn't want to put it out there. Or
yeah, it's not just Billy. You have other kids that make stuff for like science, fairs that are brilliant.
Maybe it's like the Fanforstic world where the adults are like, "Oh, you just made a teleporter, idiot."
Perpetual motion. Who cares?
Oh, you knocked a bunch of people over. Fail. That was the densest high school. That teacher tells you we do not pay teachers enough, right? Like, anyway, well, guys, thanks for watching. Sure appreciate it. We will see you again next week for another Captain Logan show, 8:00 Central next Wednesday night. I will see you guys in a few minutes. Those of you that want to stick around for Power Rangers. And in the meantime, I was Captain Logan, and this was producer Danny Nixon.
I was Danny.
And DJ.
That's me.
For the last time. See you later, folks.